All right, so good evening, everyone, and welcome to the KJ Method live session for 12/19/2024. This is our last live for the year, and so we decided to just invite everyone in, whether you are current, former KJ Method students, or you have never come to a KJ Method live session. My name is Kalimah Jenkins, also known as KJ. I am a pre-licensed instructor in the state of Georgia. I'm also a GIT instructor, which means that I teach other instructors in the state of Georgia in order for them to get their license. I also run this program, KJ Method, which is a real estate exam prep program. So I help students prepare for the state exam, and I was just approved for a school. And so I am setting that up now, a pre-license academy that will begin in 2025. And that'll be for pre-license for people who haven't gotten the pre-license credit. At the current time, I don't do pre-license credit. I'm just doing the prep program. All right, so what we're going to do tonight is go over this test. I uploaded a test. It's it should take us about 2 hours because I like to explain, I like to get feedback from the students. So this is not a situation where whether you're a KJ Method student or not, don't be afraid, ask questions. That's what I'm here for. We try to get to an understanding in KJ Method, not just, I'm just going to give you an answer and that's going to be it. We're going to try to discuss to make sure that we understand that concept. Don't be afraid, like I said, to ask questions. Hopefully, you did do the test because it always works better if you've done the test ahead of time. That way, you'll know exactly, what the questions are. And so let me get the test up on the screen and then make it larger so that you could see it. The one thing about the test, what normally happens a lot of times, hopefully you tried all of the problems. There's 80 questions. The math I always do last for whatever time we have left. I don't focus a lot on the math. There's 7 math questions on the state exam. But what I will do is if we have time at the end, we are going to go over some math problems, but I'm not going to we won't have time to go over all the math. But what I did was pick out specific math because there's kind of like they test this all the time, right? They test this all the time. And so we'll be doing math like that. All right. So let's get started. Can everyone see that screen? Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Can I
Yeah.
say something really quick? I'm going to continue on, but I'm showing on my end, on my phone, examination number 3, and I see you put up examination number 2. So it looks like I've done the wrong exam.
Okay. No
Did you
problem.
share did you share number 3 with us?
3, I think we did a couple of weeks ago, a couple of weeks back.
Okay, I just joined, and so yeah. So
It's
I'm
a
gonna you.
All right, no problem. You know what's kind of funny though? When I was doing this exam, it really spoke to me. And some of you guys, it should speak to you, right? Because I'm like, man, these same questions just come up over and over
Mm-hmm.
again, And um, so I'll answer that question in a second. These same questions come up over and over again. So you guys, if you've been coming to the lives, like you should be able to answer many of these questions. This is not a difficult exam really because they kept just testing like the same thing
Yeah.
over and over
Okay.
again.
Let's
And
do
but this
it.
exam is indicative of like the state exam. It's just kind of
Yeah.
like if you know your stuff,
Mm-hmm.
then you'll be able to do it.
Okay.
All right. So number one, I have a grantor who wishes to convey title to a grantee in a deed that creates the least protection for the grantee. The least protection for the grantee. And so you cannot answer a question unless you know what the question is asking. So we're saying basically the grantor doesn't want to give the grantee any protection. Everybody agree? Like that's what it's saying.
Right.
So what deed is like you're not going to get any protection? What deed is that?
A. Number two, quit claim deed.
Quit claim deed.
The quit claim deed. All right, so let's explain that, right? What I want you to understand. A lot of times people will say bargain and sale, quit claim, bargain and sale, quit claim. I want you to understand quit claim gives nothing. It gives no warranties at all. I call it in KJ method, I call it the sucky deed, right? It is like, you are only getting in a quit claim deed what the grantor had if the grantor had anything. So someone could give you a quit claim deed and you get what? You get nothing. Okay. So there is no warranties in the quit claim deed at all. So it's the bottom rung. The next one is bargain and sale, because bargain and sale gives certain warranties in it. It basically just says, hey, you're getting the property. I'm not going to make any warranties as to the condition of title, but you are going to get the property. But in a quit claim deed, you may not get the property. You may not be getting anything at all. Okay. Everybody good with that one?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Number two, of the following liens, which generally would be given the highest priority?
3.
3, special assessment.
3, special assessment. That is correct. What is the rule on that? You guys know that liens have priority. And how do liens have priority most of the time? By what?
When they were issued?
When they were recorded.
Recorded, okay.
Recorded, right? But you guys know that some liens get high priority, right? They're like, yeah, they're the ones that get high priority. It doesn't matter when they were recorded. And what liens are those?
Tax liens.
Liens. And how many types of tax liens do we have? 2.
2.
One is called what?
Is it ad valorem?
Ad valorem. What's the
special
second one?
Estate.
Special assessment.
Special assessment.
That's how you get to the answer for number 2.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Everybody good on that one?
Yes.
It's a process. It's a process, right? You got to know a lot of things for these questions, but it's not that the questions are so difficult, but you do need to know a lot of things for it. You are showing a property described as being the nicest neighborhood in town. If you have background noise, make sure
is my screen frozen or is that just KJ?
I'm not frozen.
Yes, she's good.
All right. You are showing a property described as being in the nicest neighborhood in town, when in fact, other neighborhoods are arguably just as nice. A statement such as this is most likely categorized as what?
Puffin.
Puffing.
Puffing all day long. Puffing.
Yeah.
Puffing, you guys, all it's saying is that you are saying something that a reasonable person could know is true or not true. Like, you're not lying. It's just like your opinion.
Right.
And if you put puffing in an advertisement as a real estate agent, is that okay?
Yes.
Yes.
So that's what we're saying. We're saying it's okay to puff as long as it's kind of like an opinion, right? And so the difference is when you are doing an advertisement, if it's factual, you don't want to lie about it. You don't want to say it's 5 acres when it's really 10. That wouldn't be puffing. Puffing is like, oh, this is the best house. This is the most beautiful neighborhood. This is the most scenic house that I've ever seen. Okay? That would be puffing. Everybody good on that one?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. 4 is you are a chairperson of a Democratic Party in your state. and you also own an 8-unit apartment building you currently rent out. You are taking a rental application from a prospective tenant, and she informs you that she works for the Republican Party. You inform her all of your apartments have been rented, even though you know they have not been rented. Which of the following statements correctly describes this unethical situation? What say you?
Federal fair housing law.
I said number 2.
How many of you guys picked 2? Come on.
Me. I
I
did.
did, but I
Right,
was
right?
between 2 and 3.
Between 2 and 3.
Mine
Who said
was
between 2
two.
chose
and
two.
3?
2 and 3.
Could take
They,
It's definitely not 3 because you have no right to
but
discriminate.
you're living there. But she's living there. They're living
Wait.
there.
Okay, so almost. You guys are throwing some things. You got a little bit of concepts, a little confused. You're throwing some things out there. But here's the thing. This is where they get you every single time. Let me ask you this question. What is Democratic or Republican? Political affiliation?
Political
Right,
affiliation.
political?
Yes.
Okay. Which fair housing category is that?
None.
It's not one.
None.
It's
None of
not.
them.
It's
It didn't
not.
fall in any, so that's why I
Yeah.
was thinking 3.
That's why it's 3.
3.
And if you
It is
understand, so don't change your mind.
Yeah.
It's not
I
Is
have
because
it
it's not
raised?
listed with a broker.
It's
They didn't
No,
list
we're
it
not.
with a broker.
That's true, Renee, but
Nothing
we're
to
not
do.
even
Nothing to
at
do
the
with a broker.
exceptions. We're not
Right.
even
Right.
at the exceptions. We could change this and say you're
That's true.
there's a college student who rents. Are they gonna have a protection?
College student. No.
No.
Nope. So guys, really need you to get into this habit. If they're not in the 7 categories,
Okay.
they have no protection.
Mm, okay.
Simple as
Mhm.
that. Democrat and Republican is not race, religion. So we're not even getting into the fair housing law. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Be careful on that one. They'll get you on that one. All right. When a listing agreement includes a broker protection clause, what does this clause do? This is pure definition.
I chose 4.
It's a protection clause.
I chose 4.
I said 4.
Just one.
All day long. Number 4. Okay. What is a protection clause, right? This one, all you needed to know what it is. A protection clause is a clause that we as real estate agents, we put in a contract, right? Our brokers have this in the contract. And it's a clause that suppose you showed a property to someone on the last day listing. You know that you only have a certain amount of days, right? To sell the property. Let's say you showed it on the last day of listing. Person loved the property. And after the listing expires, they decide to buy the property. You would be out of a commission, right?
Right. Yeah.
We have these clauses that are called protection.
Mm-hmm.
Certain what it says is if anybody we showed the property to buys it, let's say within 3 months,
Mm-hmm.
right? Then I still get a commission. Does that make
Is that
sense?
called a safety clause?
Safety clause, we also call them.
Yeah.
Everybody understand?
Yes. Yes.
Because think about it. You as an agent, you're like, oh, I got one more day to sell this house.
Mhm.
It's gonna expire. And then the person actually goes to buy the house. And then you don't get paid. No, a protection clause will allow you to get paid. Which of the following would not be considered real property? Which one is not real property? If it's not real, then it's what?
3 trade fixtures.
Trade fixtures.
Trade fixtures. But it's not real, it's personal, right?
Personal.
So trade fixtures are always personal property until the lease expires.
Right.
Everybody good with trade fixtures?
Yes.
Okay,
Mhm.
so that's number 7. We're holding on number 7. Let's go to number 8. The giver of the option is called
Optional.
Optional.
or. That could only be one or two, really, if you know your ORs and EEs, right? Okay. The giver of the option, two, is the optioner. All right. Which of the following types of depreciation is generally incurable?
Economic.
Two.
Number two.
Economic and external.
Economic and external. Okay. Let's make sure that everybody understands, though. Do we know what we're talking about when we talk about incurable depreciation?
Meaning it can't be fixed.
It can't be fixed, so
It can't
it
be
would be
fixed.
functional, right?
Can't be. Now, here's the thing. Let's be very good and pure with our words, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is how the state exam will do. This is how they'll do you. It'll have a question that says, what does incurable mean? And you guys will say, it can't be fixed. That's not what incurable means. It means that the cost to fix it is greater than the value.
Mm.
Okay.
That's what I want you to understand. Because if they put those two answers head to head, you're going to get it wrong, right? Because it doesn't mean you can't fix it. Incurable means there's going to be a lot of money to fix it, and the cost is greater than the value. Okay?
Right.
That's what it really means.
Okay.
You guys good with that?
Yes.
Why economic? Why did you guys pick economic or external? Give me an example of economic.
I picked functional.
Okay, so hold on to that 1 second. Hold on to that 1 second, and we'll discuss that. So what does economic or external mean? Give me examples.
Like a
Railroad,
Airport.
railroad, airport.
Road, airport, prison, over improvement for the area, high taxes, things
Right.
like that.
Mm-hmm.
Things that that's outside of your control. Outside
Right.
of your control. And because of that, it's very hard to fix it. The cost, unless you're gonna pick up the house and move it from the airport, you can't do that, right? You could, but cost would be too much. All right, Renee. Functional is something inside the house, right? Functional, guys, can be curable or incurable.
It can be curable.
One or the other. Economic is generally always incurable. But
Right.
functional could be either one. So somebody give me an example of functional, curable.
Functional is outdated appliances or whatever.
Outdated appliance, functional, curable. Give me an example of functional, incurable.
You have one bath,
bedroom, one bath.
or bed.
Yeah.
4 beds, 1 bath, small closets. Very good. You guys got it?
Yeah.
Yes.
So Renee, with functional, it depends on what it is that we're talking about inside the house. But with economic, it's almost always incurable. You got that one?
Because it's out of our control.
Out of our control. It's outside the house. It's something outside the house that we can't control. Okay? You guys good?
Yes.
Okay. Can we move to page 2?
Yes.
Yes.
Can I move to? Okay. All right. Skipping 10 for now, moving to 11. Which one of the following clauses gives the lender the right to declare the entire debt due? Basically saying, you now owe me all the money.
Acceleration.
Mortgage
Acceleration.
Acceleration loss.
Come on, guys. That's what y'all probably doing on the test. Read the question because
Okay, let's go back.
you just heard declare the entire debt due, and you said acceleration. But we have 2 clauses where they can declare the entire debt due. Acceleration, but what is the other one?
Number 4.
Alienation.
So let's make sure we got it correct. Okay. Yes.
Okay.
You guys pulled out entire. hey, you could call the entire debt due. So great, you pulled that out. But
Right.
what's the reason why? Why are they calling the entire debt due? Why?
They're behind.
Because you didn't pay it. That's acceleration. Everybody good?
Yes.
You are
Wait, can you repeat that,
behind.
please?
Okay. You guys got it correct when you said call the entire debt due. But understand we have two clauses that allow them to call it due. One is, and what you're looking at is why they're calling it due. Okay. Number one, when the question says you are not paying your debt, so they're going to call it due. What clause is that?
Acceleration.
That's acceleration.
Okay, acceleration.
If they say we're going to call it due because you transferred your property to someone else, you let someone else assume, remember, assume, take over. You let someone else assume your loan without asking us. That is called, now look, transfer your property. What's the word we use for transfer?
Alienation.
Alienation. That is your other clue.
You sell.
All right? Y'all can't be running to the answers.
Yeah.
You have got to read the question. So we have two clauses where you can declare it due. Now you're saying, well, why are they declaring it due? Okay? Everybody good with that?
Yeah.
So it's number 4.
Yes.
Alienation.
Because look at the language. Declaring it due if the property is assumed. What does assume mean?
Like taken over.
Taken over. Like,
yeah.
You transferring it to someone else. As soon as you hear that word transfer, assume it's transfer, then you know alienate is the word for it. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah. Good. All right. A woman owns a tract of land that also is a servient tenement. The easement through or under the tract is what?
Encroachment.
What do we have?
It's an encumbrance.
Encumbrance. Now, I hope some of you guys maybe, because a lot of people get the ease. It's not, they get the ease confused. Encroachment, encumbrance, like the words, they get them confused. So by way of understanding this question, somebody owns this land right here, this land, and it is serving an easement. Serving an easement, meaning somebody's allowed to walk across this land. This person gave someone the right to walk across this land. Got it?
It's a
What
license.
is that right? It's a
License.
A license.
Oh, okay. Woo! Somebody said license. Let's do that. A license and an easement can't be the same. They're not the same thing. So let's go back a little bit. First of all, how do I do this?
To be taken away.
First of all, the question says it is what?
An easement.
Yeah.
a servient tenement.
And it says something else. You just said it. You need
Easement.
It says it's an easement.
Right.
Y'all can't miss that. Like it's telling you it's. And so if it's an easement, it can't be a license.
Be a license, yeah.
A license is something lesser than. Does everybody know the difference?
A license is like a permission slip to come through. An easement
like for a minute, right? To use it for a minute, right? It's like a permission slip. But it is
Permission
not.
slip.
It's not like a if you're the servient tenement, if it's an easement, it can't be a license. Okay, it has to be, and we know it's not a lien. And here's the thing: back yourself out of it. Is it a lien? No, it's not a lien. License. It says it's an easement. I want you guys, if it says it, I want you to believe them.
Right.
It just says it's an easement, so you know it's not a license. So now it's either an encumbrance or an encroachment. Do you know what an encroachment is?
It's when
it's like something that's on your property.
That's leaning over, something intruding.
Yeah. Leaning over.
So you know what's about that. And so the only thing you're left with is an encumbrance. You guys have to be as good going forward as you are going backwards, if you know what I mean. You got to be able to go into a question or be like, oh, I don't know. Let me back my way out of here.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You can't be afraid to do that. All right. Yeah. I've said a million times, like if you know your vocab, you got to then start being able to back yourself out of a question by eliminating. So it's equally important to be a good process of eliminator. Okay.
So this is encumbrance, right?
Yes.
Okay.
For sure.
All right. That's what I had, and then I thought you said something else, and I erased it, and then okay. All right.
No, 100% in encumbrance.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
100% in encumbrance. Everybody good on that one?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay. Exclusive. Don't forget that word, exclusive. It tells you right there. Right to sell agreement. How many brokers are involved?
One.
One.
It's exclusive. All right. A broker has listed an owner's house. The agreement will be terminated by all of the following except. Everybody better get this right.
Number one.
I know that y'all, this has been hammered in, guys.
Yeah.
Over again. This is a gimme question. They ask it on every state exam. Everybody good that the salesperson doesn't matter.
Right.
So death of the salesperson. Sometimes students get tripped up because they know that it's the sale. They know number one, but then they see bankruptcy. Guys, I can't stress to you enough, they use bankruptcy a lot on the test to try to confuse you. Bankruptcy is, let's say it's like death, because it terminates the contract too. All right? It terminates the agency if there is a bankruptcy from the broker or the owner. So this one could have said death of the owner, bankruptcy of the owner, death of the broker. All right? So bankruptcy. Okay?
Or they'll say the property was destroyed or something like that.
They'll say the property was destroyed, completely destroyed.
It still gets sold, right?
Well, a contract under the purchase and sale, yes, but the agency, if there's a property completely destroyed, the agency is terminated also. Complete destruction. 15, a drunken man signs an offer to purchase. The contract is what?
Voidable.
Do we have 100% voidable?
Yes.
Yes.
100% voidable.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Hey, KJ, I have a question.
Absolutely. Go ahead.
Now, I've taken the test before,
Okay.
but then I've heard this, is a minor void or voidable? Because I know it's on the test.
A
and I
minor
always get it
is
wrong.
voidable all day long.
Okay.
All the way until when?
Majority.
And
time thereof after.
Reasonable time after. Voidable. A minor is voidable.
Thank you.
No problem. All right, skipping 16, moving to 17. All of the following agency relationships could be used to describe a co-oping situation in a real estate transaction, except which one is not co-oping?
I chose 4.
I chose 4 too.
Non-exclusive buyer's broker.
I think it's 2.
2.
I think it's 2.
Is it 1? Say two,
picked
too.
one. I picked
Any
one.
ones in the room? Any number ones
Yes,
in the room?
ones.
I picked
Wow.
one.
I
All
picked
right.
one.
Here's the thing. This should have glared right out at you, but you may not have known what you were looking for, right?
Okay.
What does co-oping mean?
More than
Like sharing?
Two or more.
Sharing.
Yeah.
Sharing.
Sharing.
You come together and you come together. We co-op together.
Mm-hmm.
Are you good with that? It looks like
Yes.
this. But what does
Yeah.
sub-agency look like?
Oh, yes.
Yes, we coming together.
Okay.
Goes down.
One
Get
above
what
the
I'm
other. Mm.
Co-oping. So this is how I want you to understand this. Anytime you hear the word co-oping, people in the arrangement are equal. This brokerage is coming together with this brokerage.
Okay.
When I say coming together, we're equal. We're going to just talk to each other. We're equal.
Okay. No one's above the other. Okay.
Nobody's above another. That's perfect. We equal. But as soon as you hear that word sub-agent, somebody's under. What does sub mean? Go under.
Underneath.
Go under.
Yeah.
Somebody's underneath someone else, so it can't be co-oping. Does that make sense?
Yes, makes sense.
So that's how you do it. That's how you figure it out, right? So anytime you see that word, so even if you didn't know, non-exclusive, they just using those terms to confuse you. Exclusive, non-exclusive. Sub-agent should be the thing that jumped right out at you because you can't have co-oping, which means
Stop it.
when you have sub-agency. Okay?
Okay.
So sub-agent is correct?
Sub-agent is correct, yeah. Because it's except.
Okay, good.
Yeah, sub-agent is correct. All right?
Yes.
An appraiser is trying to determine the value of an income property by capitalizing the income stream. Which of the following factors will the appraiser use? And this is good because what do we use and what do we not use? So
I
look,
chose two. I chose net.
very good. Net income.
That's a net income.
Net income. Because what do we use? If you look at that cap rate formula, we use income, rate, and value. Everybody good? IRV. We use income, rate, and value, right? We never use debt, which is mortgage interest. We never use debt. We never use the replacement cost or the income taxes when we're doing the cap formula. The cap formula is only income, rate, value. Okay? Very good. 19. Partial release clause. What loan do you find that one in?
One. I put blanket.
The blanket is partial too.
Three. I put a
Yeah, I would say three.
Blanket. Blanket got either two. Okay, blanket. What is a blanket mortgage? Why'd you pick three? Like, explain to me what a partial release clause is.
It's
It
literally
releases the partials every time the builder. It releases the partials every time the builder completes or the home sells. So the bank releases.
Very good.
Releases.
So look, you decided that you wanted to take. You're a builder. That's a good one. You're a builder. You buy a piece of land, and you take a loan on it, right? And then you take a loan on each house you build in. Well, that means that there's a lien on each of these houses. They gave you one big loan, houses, right? What happens when you sell that house? They want that lien released, right? The new buyer doesn't want that house to have a lien on it. And so when the builder takes this loan, it has to have a clause in there that lets them know how much they have to pay for each house being released. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
Excuse me, what was 18?
18 was 2 net income.
Net. Okay, great. Thank you.
And what was 19?
19 was
3. We
3.
just did that one. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, 17. That was the subagent, right? Or was that another answer?
Yeah.
17, guys?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, 17 was 1, subagent.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
I
No
didn't
problem.
hear 19 when a lot of people talking. I couldn't hear the answer.
Okay, no problem. 19 was blankets.
Thank you.
A blanket. It's called a blanket mortgage. All right. All of the following scenarios would be considered discriminatory under the federal fair housing laws, except, all right, stop for a second. I want y'all to think about who's protected. All right. All right. And who gets an exception, right? So go ahead. What do you guys think?
I chose 1.
I chose 4. I don't know why. That's what I did.
Okay. So you think it's children but not pregnant women? It's pregnant women, it's foster care, it's cousins, it's any children. Any children. So let's talk about this. If a man owns and lives in a 4-unit apartment building and he refuses to rent to families with children, can he do it?
Yes.
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 And what is that?
Yes, because he lives there.
Is that Murphy?
Mrs. Murphy's
Murphy.
Mrs. Murphy.
So 1 is what, right? So 1 is not a violation of fair housing.
He just can't advertise it, right?
Right.
Right.
You can't put it with a broker. You can't. You're right. You can't advertise it. All right. So not discriminatory. How about if a landlord charges higher security deposits to tenants with children?
That's discrimination.
Yeah.
That's discrimination. A landlord places all families in selected buildings in his apartment complex.
Can't do that.
Can't do that. A landlord refuses to rent to a pregnant woman.
You can't do that either.
Can't do that either.
Okay. So the only thing that you can do, if you live and own in a 4-unit, and you like, I don't want no children in here, you can do it. That's called Mrs. Murphy's exemption. Okay. So here the answer was number 1.
1. Okay. Thanks.
Which of the following is a requirement for a valid deed? See if y'all know your deed
They gotta have a
requirement.
Number
It
1.
must.
Number 1.
Number 1.
Okay.
It's 4.
Number is 4. It is
4. Yeah,
Let's go
Must
over them.
contain it.
Let's go over them. Number 1 says the grantee must sign the deed.
Not true.
Not true.
Not true. Only the
grantee
grantor.
never signs the deed. Who's
Right.
the grantee?
The receiver.
The receiver.
Buyer, seller? Buyer.
Buyer.
Okay. Let me tell you guys who are not in KJ method, little trick, right? Sometimes the language of a test question will get you all twisted around, right? You're like grantee, grantor, optional, optionee. I want you to say to yourself, who are we talking about? The buyer or the seller? So when you see grantee, I want you to change the word to who you're talking about. So I want you to there for yourself say the buyer must sign the deed. No, oh no, the buyer don't sign the deed.
Right, yeah, the sign, yeah.
Okay, but what happens a lot of times when you guys get confused on a question, you may know the answer, but you didn't change the word, so you're not exactly certain who they're speaking about in the question. Okay, consideration must be in dollars.
No, not true.
No, not true.
Consideration could be anything, right?
Yeah.
Anything. Okay. It must contain a subordination clause.
No.
No.
It must contain a granting clause.
Yes.
Yes.
We need to know what you are giving the person. So in case you don't know what a granting clause is or you didn't pick that one, guys, we need to know what you're giving. So the granting clause just says, I'm giving you a fee simple. I'm giving you a fee simple determinable. I'm giving you a life estate. We need to know what it is that you're giving to the person. Okay?
Okay, sort of like a description.
Description.
Okay.
You know, it's not a description of, not a legal description, a description of telling us what you're granting. Because think about it, you could grant an easement, right, guys?
Right.
Yeah.
By deed. You would do a life estate by deed. You would do a fee simple determinable by deed. You would do a fee simple absolute by deed.
Okay, so what's included?
So we need to know what you're giving the person.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's what the granting clause does. It tells what it is. That's why it's necessary, because we need to know what it is that you're giving the person. Okay. All right. 22 is math. We'll move on from that one. 23. An enforceable contract may contain any of the following as consideration, except
Four.
Well, that was a 4, right? Consideration can be anything, but it can't be the rest, of course. Oh, what's that ringing? All right. You have just given an option to buy your restaurant to a friend. Which of the following statements is not correct? Which of the following statements is not correct? So, you know, one of these, sometimes you guys get confused on not correct, correct, or whatever, right? If it's not correct, right, we're looking for the thing that is false, right? You could say true, 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 false, okay? So your friend is an optionee. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes.
These are the options.
You are the optionor. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes. Your friend is obligated to buy a restaurant. Oop.
No.
False.
No, that's not true.
Right? And then your friend may pay a fee. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You can say to yourself, that's true. That's true. And then it's like, oh, wait a minute. And it should then jump out at you, right? Because if you do it like that, then you'll be able to answer, right? So, and you could do it the other way too with the except questions. True, 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 false. If there's all of these are true and one is false, that's got to be the answer that you're looking for. All right.
What was the answer?
Your friend is obligated to buy your restaurant. Number 3. Your friend's not obligated to buy your restaurant, right? Not obligated. So it was number 3, because they were looking for the one that is not correct. Not correct. A broker listed a home under the condition that the owner received $210,000 from the sale, with the broker being able to sell the property for as much as possible and keep the difference as the commission. This is unethical, if not illegal. Agreement is an example.
Free net listing.
Some of them, they're like, I'm like, why don't you just give it? That's a gimme, right? Net listing. Net listing. Think about what you just read, and you guys immediately picked out net listing. But sometimes I see you guys do a math question and you don't do it as a net listing. Like you're not understanding that it's written like a broker listed a house and the owner wanted to receive $210,000 and the broker was going to be paid 7%. How much should we put it on the market for? That's also a net listing, just a math net listing.
Right.
Okay. So I want you to be able to recognize it, not only here, but on the math side too. It generally will say an owner wants to receive this amount, or it could say there was a house that closed, the owner received $210,000 and the broker got 6% commission. How much was the price of the house? That's also a net listing. Okay? All right. 26. A broker was offered a listing by homeowners who stated that they would not sell to a minority. The broker should
file a complaint.
Four.
Refuse.
Refute.
Or
Yeah. Okay. So here's the rule. I heard somebody say file a complaint. Here's the rule. We have something called improper listing, taking an improper listing, and that is under the fair housing law. You're just not allowed to accept the listing when it's based on a condition of something that violates fair housing. Okay? So refuse to accept the listing based
Refuse
on
to accept it.
condition. And it's called improper listing. All of the following would be, what's your key word here? Public land use controls, except. This one is a little bit. When I answer questions, I don't know everything, right? And sometimes these questions are written not very clear. Here, it's either, it's looking for the except. So it's looking for private, not public. Is everybody good with that?
Yes.
Okay. So could everybody go zoning? That's public. So that's not the answer. Environmental protection is public. So that's not the answer. Everybody good?
Yes.
You got the subdivision regulations and deed restriction. Subdivision regulations can be private or public.
Right.
But deed restrictions can never be public. So if I'm answering a question, I'm answering a test question, and I'm looking at it and I'm like, man, 3 is kind of like, I don't know. But 4 is definitely, I'm picking 4. Does that make sense?
Yes.
That's how I want you to answer the question, because these questions are not always perfect, right? Sometimes they give you these 2 answers and you're like, but I know that deed restrictions. Now let's make sure we understand what I'm talking about. If I give you a deed, Crystal, and I say, this house has to be, this land is used for this so long as, what is that? What did I just give her? So long as
Condition. A condition.
I put a, right? So it's a fee simple determinable. I put a condition on it. Those type of deed restrictions are only done privately. Only done privately. And subdivision regulations can be private or public. All right. So because of the deed restrictions privately, that would be the answer. Okay. Everybody good on that one? They're not perfect. They're not perfect. Some of them you have got to just, and what I would say to you is go for the slam dunk. When you're back and forth, go for the slam dunk, the one that has to be right, because the other one is iffy. Don't go for the iffy answer. Go for the definitive one.
No.
Which person would not be protected under family status for fair housing? No protection.
3.
1.
Yeah, number 1, 19.
I chose 1.
The 19-year-old, right? A lot of times, guys, the family, I want you to get this in your head. Family doesn't mean family. Family means children. under 18, 18 under 18. All right? It doesn't mean family. A lot of times you guys will get tripped up because this is saying it's a girl living with her mother. Their family, right? No, not under fair housing. We're not protecting them. We're protecting, if this said a 16-year-old living with her mother, then yes. All right, the 17-year-old living with his father, of course. A 14-year-old living with a person who's seeking legal custody. We don't care. We don't care, right? Foster, adoption, pregnant, cousin. We don't care, all right? So 14-year-old, somebody seeking legal custody, yes. And then the 21-year-old who is pregnant under family. Everybody okay with that?
Yes.
The biggest mistakes that you guys make on that one is you think family means like family. It
So what
doesn't.
was the answer?
One.
One.
Can you explain? I'm sorry, you guys. Can you explain why it's 1 and not 2? The difference between 1 and 2?
Yeah, because 1, the daughter's 19 and the law ends at 18.
Oh, okay. Okay.
All right. 17 is protected, but 18 is not. And so 19 certainly is not.
Gotcha.
All right. You are working as a salesperson for a broker and you have just sold a home. You will receive your share of the commission on the sale from who?
Your
Your broker.
broker.
Your broker.
My broker.
Broker. 3.
A broker. That's another gimme, right? You're a broker, of course. You're not allowed to take commissions from anybody else. Anyway, you'll be violating the license law. You have been given oral permission to park in a friend's driveway. Oral permission. So what is that?
License.
That's the example. Oral and permission. That's a license. You see that it has an easement in there, you immediately say no. Easement appurtenances are not given orally. They are given in writing. And the word permission to you, permission means license. Permission equals license, vice versa. Okay? Charging a rate of interest in excess of the maximum rate allowed by law. This is just definition. It's called what?
Usury.
Usury.
Yeah.
Usury. Now, here's one of those scenarios. We don't do a lot of usury in pre-license, but we certainly do novation. We certainly do subordination, and we certainly do latches. And so you may not have positively just off the top of your head knew the definition of what excess interest rates are, but you should have known it by being able to eliminate 1, 2, and 3. Okay? So that's what I mean. You have to be a good eliminator also.
30.
So
Was 31 3?
You may have two, whoever's speaking, you may have two devices on. That's why you get that feedback. What you have to do is disconnect your audio from the second device. You can leave it as it is, just disconnect from the audio. What was the question though?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I could hear you.
Oh, was 31 number 3? Answer 3?
Yeah.
Thank you.
31 was 3. 32 was 4. Which of the following categories represents the first one to be protected by federal law against discrimination?
Is that familiar status? Fresh corn?
Oh, fresh corn. Yeah,
corn, familiar status.
But what was the first one to be protected? You guys?
Race.
Race.
1966,
right? And then 1968. They codified 1968. So race was number 1.
Oh.
Got it.
36. The requirement that a lender use the settlement statement, that's your clue, form for certain government-related loans is a requirement of what?
RESPA.
Two, RESPA.
RESPA. Number 2, RESPA. The thing is, again, if you guys can utilize context clues, right, with these questions and not just gloss over words, they're trying to tell you something. Okay. 36 is number 2, RESPA. 37, all of the following would be considered a lien. A lien, except which one is not a lien?
1, encroachment.
1, encroachment. Is everybody okay with that one?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Don't let me start losing you guys. You guys that are in the room, right? Make sure that you are understanding. You can just say, I need help with that one, okay? It's no problem at all.
Can you please explain, I knew it was encroachment, but the mortgage kind of threw me off. Could you explain why? Is it because they can come after the mortgage too? Or
I had the same question.
That's a voluntary lien, right?
Yeah, it's a type of lien. A mortgage is a type of lien, right? You know how you're going to the bank and you're saying, hey, I'd like to buy the house. And the bank is like, I'll give you the house, but I got to put a lien on the house, right? So a mortgage is a type of lien. A mechanic's lien is a type of lien, right? Taxes, that's a type of lien, right, guys? So all of these things are liens that can be put on the house. And then a judgment is a type of lien, right?
Right.
But an encroachment is just someone intruding onto neighboring property. Okay? Good?
Yes.
Before we go any further, can I get number 25 and 26, please? I'm sorry.
25 was 3, and 26 is 4.
Thank you.
No problem. Okay. 38. The borrower under a note secured by the mortgage is called. Who's the borrower called in a mortgage?
Mortgagee.
Okay. Mortgagee or mortgage?
Mortgagee.
Okay. Here, let me try to give you why it is the way that it is. We always feel the giver of the thing ends in what?
OR.
OR.
The
Give
giver
or.
of the thing ends in OR, right? Receiver of the thing ends in
E.
So you guys are like, it's
in reverse for the
confusing.
mortgage.
Yeah.
Because if the bank is giving the borrower the money, then the borrower is the mortgagee.
Yeah.
That's how it should work, right?
Right.
That's how it works. Because you're looking at it from the wrong perspective. So this is how I want you to look at it.
Okay.
The borrower is giving the bank the right to put the lien. Isn't a mortgage lien voluntary?
Yeah.
We said it, right?
Yes.
We just said it's a voluntary lien. So what happens when you go to get money from a bank? A bank is like, no, if I'm gonna give you this, if I'm gonna give you this money, I have to put a lien on your house. And what do you say? Okay. Okay, no problem. Isn't that what you say?
Okay.
As long as you're gonna give me the money. Okay, so think about it like this. The borrower is giving the right to put the lien. They're giving the bank permission to put the lien. So since they're giving the permission, we call the borrower what?
The mortgagor.
Mortgagor.
Or, okay? That's why it seems quirky to you guys, because you're looking at it from the perspective of who's giving the money.
So is the bank a lendee or a mortgagee?
Mortgagee.
Okay.
Mortgagee.
So the answer is one.
Yeah, one. So does everybody understand? Like,
yes,
you do it from that perspective. The borrower is giving the right to put the lien. They're volunteer. They're giving the bank permission to put the lien on their house. That's why we call them the mortgagor.
Okay.
Okay.
I like it that better. Giving the bank permission to put the lien on.
Yeah.
Just to clarify, that was number one. Just to clarify, 38 was number one.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Anyway. Okay. Thanks.
Mm-hmm. Which of the following licensees is most likely to act as a general agent for a client? General agent for a client.
Broker.
Or the broker.
The broker.
The broker. So you think that the broker?
Oh no, the listing sales.
The listing. I chose 4.
2. Slow down, guys. Slow down. Let's look at them individually. Let's change 39 and let's say, which of the following licensees is most likely to act as a general agent for a seller? Because client, seller, principal, seller, or buyer. So let's change it. You're a general agent for a seller or a buyer. A principal is really what I'm trying to say. Not so much seller or buyer, but a principal. So who could be a principal? If you're a broker working for a seller, are you a general agent or a special agent?
General.
General, you cover everything.
It can only be 2. General or special?
Special.
Are you sure?
I need to
I say general.
Yeah. Okay. Again, what are you doing for the seller?
You're selling a buyer.
How long is your agency with the seller?
Until you find a buyer.
Until you find a buyer. So does that make you general or special?
Special.
Yes.
Specific.
You're a special agent.
Okay.
Yes? You guys got it?
Yes.
Okay, how about number 2? If you are working as a property manager, are you general or special?
General, because you cover everything.
Everything, Desiree. So 2, you're a general agent. How about number 3?
Co-op broker. That's
special.
Yeah, special too.
How about you're not an agent at all?
At all, because it's a co-op. It's a
What?
co-op.
We just
Everybody.
said it.
Co-op.
Yeah.
Co-op mean we equal.
Yeah.
Everybody.
You're not an agent at all. Right? Listen, I just want you to understand, co-op means Metro Brokers is coming together with Caldwell Banker to sell a house. That's what co-oping means. They're going to share the experience. Is Metro any better than Caldwell? No. Is Caldwell better than Metro?
No.
They're the same.
Co-oping is. It's a shared experience, okay? So that's no. How about a listing salesperson to a seller?
Special. Yeah.
Uh-oh.
So property manager.
I think, and so the answer is property manager. 39 is number 2, but I heard a little bit less there. So I'm gonna tell y'all right now, agency, I need y'all to brush up on that because y'all don't sound as comfortable with that. Knowing agency is gonna kill you. You got it. You got it. Okay.
So just again, general agent does everything.
General agent is like ongoing, does everything.
Ongoing. Okay.
Ongoing.
Oh, okay. That's why property manager Okay.
Private manager is ongoing,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yep.
they keep going until what? Until you fire them.
Right.
Besides that, they keep going. But when you are working with a seller or a buyer, it ends as soon as the house is sold.
Yep.
And broker was special also.
Yeah, definitely. Think about it. The broker is working with the seller. Done. Right? As soon as you sell the house.
Done.
Okay.
Yeah.
Property management is the only one where you're there, like all the time. You stay there. Relationship of trust and confidence. We got, what is the name of that? 40.
Fiduciary.
40 is number one.
Number one. Mm-hmm.
41, you received a real estate loan from a bank in which the lender was privately insured against the loss. So what kind of loan is that?
Conventional.
You got to know that, right? It's not FHA, VA, or rural development. Those are easy. All right.
I'm sorry. Can you read that question again? Because I'm just now reading them as I go. That's when
41 is one.
No, I know the answer. What was the question again?
The question was, you received a real estate loan from a privately insured company. So which one is it? It has to be conventional because it's private. The other ones were public. Not public, government.
Okay.
All right, 43. Which of the following real estate loans is guaranteed? That's your word. Guaranteed. Which one is guaranteed?
VA.
VA
loan.
all day long. You got to know that. These are the ones, guys, if you get that, you got to be like, VA, move on. Okay? 44. Which agency serves as the nation's banker and fiscal manager?
3.
The federal.
I think it's 1.
Fiscal manager.
1.
Number 2.
Number 1.
The agency.
I think it's 1.
The nation's banker is number 1. United States Treasury. So anybody pick number 3 or 4, those are secondary mortgage market.
Secondary.
Secondary mortgage. The United States Treasury, they issue securities for the government. They do the borrowing. We borrow from them. They borrow from us. That's the nation's bank. Skipping 40. Oh, 46.
I'm sorry. So what was the answer to 44?
1. The Treasury.
1. Thank you.
46 is, I thought it was a very confusing question. So all of the following describe a loan in which private mortgage insurance is required, except, I same thing, back myself out of this question. So describe a loan in which private mortgage insurance is required, except. So, it just doesn't make sense. Insurance must generally be held for 2 years. That is true. PMI payments are made a part of the borrower's monthly payments. That's true. The lender is protected against loss on the upper 20 to 25% portion of the loan. That is true, because you know that you would only have private mortgage insurance when you have less than 20% down. So the answer here is 1, but I can't really give you a good explanation. It's just poorly written. The buyer may obtain a conventional loan for up to 95% of the property's appraised value. The only reason why I could say that that's incorrect is because you can obtain a conventional loan for up to 100%. You can obtain a conventional loan for 105%. You can obtain a conventional loan for however much the bank wants to give you on a conventional loan. So that's the reason why 46, number 1. But process of elimination, because I knew all the other ones were true. 48. You removed an old furnace and installed a new furnace with central air in your home. The new furnace, the newly installed personal property becomes what?
Fixture.
Fixture, regular fixture, right? Not a trade fixture, a regular fixture. An easement would generally be used in which of the following?
Right away.
Right away.
Right of way. 49, right of way. And actually, those words a lot of times are used interchangeably. So you should have been able to pick that one out. 49 is for an easement, right of way. You had an exclusive right to sell listing with a seller, and you showed the property to a prospective buyer during the listing term. The seller openly negotiated with this prospective buyer and asked him to wait until the listing had expired to buy the property, so there would be a commission savings on the transaction. You found out that the property was sold to the prospective buyer within a month of the listing expired. Are you entitled to a commission?
Yes.
Yes.
Because
you're the procuring cause.
Because you were the procuring cause of the sale, and most likely, what is this describing? It had what kind of
uninterrupted?
No. Why would you be entitled to a commission?
It's not because
it's not just because
exclusive right to sell.
Exclusive right to sell.
Something else.
Protection clause.
Yes.
Yeah,
that's what I said. Safety clause.
Yeah, this is clearly a protection clause question. Safety clause. You guys got it?
Yep.
Making that connection? So yes, you were the procuring cause. And yes, you were exclusive right to sell. Understand that you would really only get paid if there was a protection clause in there. Okay?
Does that happen?
Yeah. Yes, that happens.
And what's the process like? What's the process for the agent once how would you find out? Like, are you checking on the property? How would you know?
You would be able to see it in the MLS. The name of the buyer.
That is so.
Okay.
Yeah. And then what are you gonna do? You the agent. You gonna go sue?
You go to your broker. Right?
Now.
Yes, that's the answer I was looking for.
Yep.
Let me tell you what.
My money.
I was looking for. 51. All of the following would be an example of economic or external obsolescence, except
Three.
True, false.
Man.
What was it?
Three.
A poor floor plan. Renee, you good with that one? I don't know if she's still there. A poor floor plan. All right. Everything else is external. Okay. A lender that refuses to provide loans on properties located in minority neighborhood, regardless of ethnicity, blah, 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 known as what?
Redlining.
Redlining. So bank refuses based on, particular neighborhood, that is redline. 53. A house located next to an airport.
2.
Economic obsolescence. We've had 3 economic obsolescence questions on the same test. Number 2. 53 is
the
number
airport
2.
affect the bundle of rights, the right to enjoyment, or no?
Yeah, it could. I mean, the whole theory behind it is if the airport. Don't forget that these words, making the connection for you guys. Don't forget that these words, economic, functional, go to depreciation. Meaning, if the appraiser is going out to appraise this property, house may be worth what? Less. Because of where it's located, or because it's near prison, or because it's near airport, or because it has bad smells around it, and so forth. Okay, so don't forget when we talk about this obsolescence, what we're referring to is the appraiser saying that this property is depreciating because of where it's located.
Mm-hmm. And it could work either way, depreciating or appreciate because of where it's
Yeah,
located.
sure. Let's say you're on the property's on an oceanfront.
Mm-hmm.
Same property, oceanfront, right?
Right.
A odorless radioactive gas produced by the decay of other radioactive materials in rocks under the Earth's surface is which of the following?
Radon.
4, radon.
Yeah, because it's odorless, right?
So yeah, again, guys, when you are looking for these, we are not going to be experts on all of this kind of stuff. But what were your key clues there? Under the Earth's surface, because radon comes up through the what? Foundation of the property. So that's all. When you see that, you're not gonna know. Like what is UFFI? I don't even know what that is, right? But I don't care what it is because
right.
I see I know what the answer is under the Earth's surface.
Okay.
And that's it. And all I'm looking for, are those things with lead, radon, asbestos. You got to know those. Radon comes through this concrete underground. Lead is in what?
Paint.
Water.
Paint.
In the paint. And then where's the asbestos?
Ceilings, walls.
And the floors.
Yeah.
Floors, old floors, roofing material.
Yeah.
Those you guys know those in the old drop ceilings.
Ceilings.
The white, all those were all asbestos. Oh, and wrapped.
Asbestos visible?
Yeah, it's white.
Okay.
It's white. That's what I'm ready to say. If anybody's from up north, I'm from up north.
Me too. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we have up north, guys. The heating unit. You know how you have your furnace down here? It's the square thing in your basement, the furnace.
Yeah.
Those were wrapped in white, this thick white pasty kind of stuff. And the piping was in this round white pasty kind of stuff. That's asbestos. Within the field of real estate finance.
I'm sorry, real quick, KJ. As an agent, because sometimes as a seller or buyer, you don't know that, but your agent should know that. What you just said, your agent should be able to recognize that.
Yeah, and only to the extent of saying, "Hey, we should get that checked."
Okay,
that's it.
Okay.
Let's get that checked out on inspection. When the inspector comes, let's just ask them about that.
Yeah, got you.
Within the field of real estate finance, to what does the secondary mortgage market refer? Now be careful. What's the secondary mortgage market?
None of these.
I said none of these.
They buy the mortgages to free up the money.
Right. Not transfer.
Yeah, it's transfer mortgages, transferability of mortgages. Transferability. It's not a perfect, it's not a perfect question. You wanted to see that the mortgages
2 and 3 are the same.
But understand that what they do is they transfer mortgages from one bank to another. So if I'm with Bank of America, right, I'm gonna sell and buy, right? It is selling and buying, but it's transferring mortgages to each other.
Yeah.
But is it 2 or 3?
I chose 2.
Well, 2, because mortgagors.
Okay.
Number 2. Very good. Number 2. Mortgagees, not mortgagors. All right, 50.
Oh, I don't miss that. I didn't even see that difference. Okay. I kept saying it's the same. They're both the same. I didn't even notice the difference.
Mortgagees, not mortgagors. Which of the following types of depreciation contains elements that are incurable only? Oh my God.
2.
Did this one too.
Two.
We understand economic by now.
Right.
Yes.
I had 3 questions.
It's like question number 4.
Right.
Yeah.
58. So 56 is number 2, guys. 58. Which of the following factors would not be considered by an appraiser in conducting a neighborhood analysis?
Racial characteristics of the
Racial
residents.
characteristics.
Yes, that should pop right out at you. Number
Right.
58, number 3. All right. 59, a contract in which the intentions of the parties are shown by their conduct is what kind of contract?
Express.
Implied. I heard somebody say express. Express would be by their words, right? What they wrote down, what they've said, but if it's by their actions,
It would be
A
implied.
contract.
because we got to figure it out. Like they're not clear. Express means they're clear. They like said it. They're like clear on what they want, but by their actions would be implied. Okay.
Okay.
All of the following would be considered an agent except for a non-licensed assistant, personal assistant of an agent. A non-licensed person. Can you guys have non-licensed personal assistants?
Yes.
Yes.
But they only are allowed what?
Open houses. They can print off. Or, yeah. Like our
Sell
kids.
cookies.
What kind of acts?
Ministerial.
Ministerial acts only. Ministerial acts only.
Okay.
KJ.
Yes. Oh,
59.
Number 2.
59, you implied, you said are actions expressed as what?
Express is the people are being clear, so they either wrote it down or they said it, they expressed it, right? Typically, just so you know, this concept of implied, it generally comes about because somebody's like, we were in contract. And the other one's like, no, we weren't. Yes, we were. No, we weren't. And then they go to court. And then the court is like, what were y'all doing? Right. You have it written down. And they go, no, we don't have anything written down. But they were acting like this. And they were acting like that. That's how we get to an implied contract.
So was that key word intention?
No, the key word, by their conduct.
Okay.
Their conduct is implied. If it said by their words, by what they said, or they were clear with their word, because understand that we will never imply, never imply anything if the people expressed otherwise.
Right.
Imply is always like, we got to figure it out, right?
Yeah.
So we got to look at their conduct to see.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Oh, 61. Swollen, rushing river. Sweep away outcropping of land with several trees on it. The term most accurately identifies what?
Avulsion.
Good. So your key terms there, swollen, rushing, because you're always going sweeping away. That's avulsion. All right. Use that V in avulsion. It's strong. It's violent.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Avulsion. Okay. Very good. All right. 62. You have purchased 3 lots and combined them into one large parcel to build an apartment building. This is an example of
cottage.
2.
Assemblage. Assemblage. Number 2.
Assemblage.
Okay.
Assemblage. The act of putting together 3 into 1, 4 into 2, whatever, is assemble. You're assemble. Think about you putting something together. You're putting a puzzle together. You're putting a Lego.
Okay.
Can you tell me why did I say plottage? Can you tell me what that one means? Why did I say that one?
I don't know why you said that one. But you probably said it because plottage is related to assemblage.
Okay.
What we talk about is you want to put them together, you're assembling them.
Okay.
If you get an increase in value from putting them together, you have plottage.
Oh, okay. But the putting them together is assemblage.
The increased
gotcha.
value from putting them together is called plottage.
Okay.
Summary of all recorded instruments affecting the title to a property is called
the abstract of title.
Abstract all day long. 63 is number 1, abstract. 64, a contract. One party promises to do something if the other party performs.
Unilateral.
Good. That is a unilateral contract. I will do it if you do it. Not I will do it and you will do it.
You will.
We both gonna do it is what?
Bilateral.
I'm gonna do it if you're gonna do it. That's unilateral.
Okay.
What was 63 again, KJ?
63 was 1, abstract.
Okay. Thank you.
64, 2, unilateral. 65, federal fair housing laws prohibit housing discrimination against all of these except which one?
College
students.
College students. They're not protected. Don't forget, I'm gonna go back to the beginning on that, like first or number fourth question that we had. Guys, all discrimination does not violate fair housing. I really need you to be locked in on protected classes. That's where we're starting to talk about these rules, all of these rules. But if they're not a protected class and I just don't want to rent to you, then I don't want no college students. That's it. Okay? The form of listing that provides most protection to the broker.
Two.
Exclusive right to sell. Most protection to the broker. Is everybody good with that one?
Yes.
You know that broker's gonna get paid
regardless.
All right. All of the following represent environmental hazards that may affect the marketability of residential property, except.
What is Exxon?
4, underground storage tanks.
I chose 1. I didn't understand the question, but I chose it anyway to answer.
All right. Well, I chose 1 too.
I chose 1.
I ended up being right, but I'm just backing my way out of this question. I know radon is bad.
Right.
We talk about that. And I know lead-based paint is bad.
Exactly.
I know underground storage tanks are bad.
Right.
I don't even know what xenon is.
Yeah, me either.
Well, I sure chose it as well. I was going to ask you.
I have to know what it is because once again, I'm going to be a good process of eliminator by going in the other direction. You know, and the things that I know affect the marketability of property are the things we talked about. Do you guys think lead-based paint does? It does. How about asbestos? It does. How about mold? It does. How about radon? Yes. These are all of the things that we talk about. Underground storage tanks, yes. Environmental problems, right? Like oil and gas on property, seeping onto property. Yes, all of those things.
KJ, I almost didn't select that one because I always remember, like, if you didn't learn about it, then don't pick it.
Right. Except that it's an accept.
Except,
so it's
true.
An accept.
That's true.
So it's okay.
Yeah, that's true.
That's exactly right. We didn't learn about it, so I'm throwing that one out.
And that question is on the state board test also.
Is it?
Yes.
Here you go. Brokers who violate Sherman may be punished by how long? You guys remember?
5
years. I said 5 years.
10 years.
Oh.
Okay.
10 years. 10 years. So keep that in mind. Sherman is a lot. Okay. Martinez is a real estate broker who was renting Paulson's apartments as Paulson's property manager. Now, actually, I'm going to give you another little tip. When you get a question like this on a piece of paper, write the names down. Because by the time the third sentence, you're like, who is Martinez again?
Yeah,
right?
you're right.
So write it down, make yourself a little quick diagram so you know who you're talking about. So Martinez is the broker. He's renting out Paulson's apartments. And Martinez showed the apartment to Smith, who is African American. Martinez checked Smith's job, credit, and housing, and was about to inform Smith that she would be able to sign the lease when Paulson called and inquired about Smith's color. Martinez should what? What say you?
I chose 4.
4. That's it. Not tell Paulson, because Smith is a member of the protected class. It's not something that you're going to be discussing. I don't care that you are representing that person. I don't care that, you may be where there's a fiduciary duty, there's an obedience. I don't care. You never, and this is just a general rule, guys. When you're taking this test, you never let a client get you into trouble. Okay? Right. So there's things that you know that you cannot do, and that the thing that you can do or cannot do overrides what your fiduciary responsibility is to that client. You get what I'm saying? Like, don't let anybody let you lose your license.
Yeah.
All right. So you're not going to tell them because Smith is a member of the protected class, and you're going to say that is not something that I'm able to discuss. Simple as that. All right. 72 we're going to do, because 72 is not math. It looks like math, but it's not. Andrew and Bethany, a married couple, sold their principal residence in 1999, and they made a profit on the sale of $600,000. Andrew and Bethany have lived in the property since 1987, and Andrew and Bethany will have to pay capital gains taxes on what?
Is it 3?
3.
Because they get 250 apiece.
Y'all just do not.
What?
On their
Y'all just do not get this rule. Okay, look. Let's try it a different one.
They made a profit sale of 6.
Obviously, I ain't doing a good job in teaching this rule. All right.
No, you get it. I just always get this confused. I don't know.
Here's the rule. Let's make sure. Okay. If
100,000. Yeah. 1
is number 1.
Yes,
if
it's 1.
Owner occupant has lived. Does everybody agree that they live in the house?
Yes.
Yes.
So we did number 1. Does everybody agree that they have lived in the house at least 2 of the last 5 years?
Yes.
Okay, so we cleared number 2. So it's 3 things we need to clear on this one. Live in the house 2 of the last 5 years. We got that. Here's the third one. If they sell the house and make a profit and they're married, 500,000 of the profit is free money.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay. I'm sorry, I missed that.
They do not pay any
The
taxes
500.
on the free money.
Subtract that 5.
Right.
Okay. So they made how much?
600.
600. How much?
600. And
They paid capital gain tax on the 100.
100.
Yeah.
So they made 6. 500 free. Pay it on how much?
100.
The 1.
Suppose it was just Andrew, not Bethany. It was just by himself, single. How much does he get free?
250.
250. Yeah.
50. Got the rule now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes,
I done
ma'am.
took this rule so many
I'm
times.
clear.
What is that rule called?
It's called the Tax Reinvestment Act of 1997.
It's for married couples or something.
Or single.
It's for anybody.
It is for homeowners.
Right.
Homeowners who have lived and worked in their property. Think about it. What it's trying to say is you're not an investor. This is a house that you've owned, so we don't want to charge you a certain, we want to allow you to make a certain profit without paying any taxes. But then we're going to get the taxes from you after a certain profit. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes.
Got it?
Yes.
Okay.
So just
If you're a single
clarity-
person, how much do you get free?
$250.
$250.
And if you're a married couple,
$500.
how long did you have to live in the house?
2 to 5 years.
5 years.
Of the last 5.
Okay,
Five.
I got it now.
Of the
I got it
last
now.
5.
Okay, I got it
And
now.
can you be an investor and take advantage of this rule?
Absolutely.
Yes.
No.
No.
No?
No, it's only for
Oh, it's a homeowner.
Principal residents only.
You got to live in it.
Absolutely, you can be.
You got to live in it.
Owner, occupant.
Yeah.
Okay.
Owner,
So,
occupant.
guys, 3 rules: live in it,
Mm-hmm.
and it has to be for the last 2 of 5 years. 2
Okay.
out of
Mhm.
5 years.
Okay.
Okay. And the profit that you make, you're going to be looking for that, right? And then you're going to say, "Oh, they made 300,000. That's free."
Mm.
Y'all got me?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
It was
I got it that time.
300,000 in the test question. You're like, "Well, I'm not going to worry about the 300,000." The test question says they made a profit of 400,000. You're like, "Well, I'm not worried about the 400,000."
Mhm.
When is the only time you're going to start worrying?
Start worrying. When it's
Come on.
when it's under 5 years or
Oh, the money.
just the money aspect.
When it's over the free money, when it's over your exemption.
What's that number?
250 for single, 500 for
500 for a
Yeah.
couple, married couple.
Okay. So what I'm saying is if you get a test question and it says the profit is 400, you ain't gonna pay no attention if it's a married couple. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because you're not at the level.
But then if it says the profit is 520, then you're like, "Ooh, now I'm paying attention."
Right.
And they're gonna pay it on 20,000.
Yeah.
You guys got it?
Yeah.
They asked this question. I don't want you to get it wrong. This one's easy.
They do. I remember it, and I
Get
probably
right.
got it wrong.
Okay. You
So the
guys
question-
got
so the
it?
answer is 1.
Yep. Number 1.
That's fine.
Okay.
Okay. All right. 73. A portion of Joseph's land is protected from judgment for unsecured debts.
Mm-hmm.
Joseph's protection is based on, let's do an elimination in case you don't know. What could we definitely eliminate?
1.
The water rights.
Littoral and riparian.
And
All
littoral.
right, so y'all want to get rid of 1 and 3?
Yes.
Yes.
Good. Now we got dower and
Let's
homestead.
get rid of dower.
So dower is just a married thing.
Why?
Yeah.
Why are you getting rid of dower?
It's just a married thing.
Nothing
about
about,
Yeah.
nothing about husband and wife here.
No.
Right,
So we
right.
get rid of it. So what
Yes.
do we left with?
We
Homestead.
left
Four.
with homestead.
Homestead, right.
Easy peasy, right? That's how you got to do it. You got to be just as good of an eliminator as you are knowing the information. Okay. 74. Sam has given Carlos permission, there's that word again, to park in Sam's driveway during the month of July. Carlos has
License.
a license. Easy. There's that word, permission again. Okay. You got to just be looking for the context clues. 75. Which of the following types of loan would be considered conventional?
Number 1.
1.
Put 1.
Number 1. We know an FHA loan is a government loan. Is there a thing as a Freddie Mac loan?
Not a loan.
No, not a
Freddie
loan.
Mac is a what?
Secondary.
Secondary lender.
Secondary lender or VA loan. Very good. 76. Which of the following is not a secondary mortgage market organization?
FDIC.
FDIC. One.
FDIC. Very good. What does number 2 stand for?
FDIC. Fannie Mae.
Fannie.
3.
Federal National
Freddie.
Mortgage. Federal National Mortgage
Association. What is 3? Who is 3?
Freddie.
Is that Magic?
Freddie?
What's that? No, that's not. That
is Freddie.
is Freddie.
Federal Home Loan Mortgage Corporation.
Yep.
And then what is 4?
Jenny.
Jenny Mac. Jenny Mac.
Jeannie from around the.
Very good. 78. Which of the following statements would not be a material fact to be disclosed by a seller's agent? It took me a minute to get this one. So I had to do
3.
process of elimination. And then I was like, oh, there's something that stands right out. All right.
So a material fact is something that you
not material.
have to disclose. You
Yep.
have to disclose material fact.
Yep. So presentation of that material?
Presentation of all
Yes.
offers. You have to disclose that.
Okay. So we want to get rid of 1, right?
Yes.
Right.
It's just asking for what's not material.
What's not material.
The relationship that you have with the buyer. Want to disclose that?
You're supposed to disclose that.
Absolutely.
Because you got fiduciary responsibility.
Absolutely. Buyer's ability to make a lower offer.
You're not supposed to disclose that.
Right.
You're not supposed to. Right.
Or don't know. I mean, it depends on who you're representing, but
True.
it's a lower offer. Or it's the seller's agent, actually.
Right.
Seller's agent. A lower offer or what?
Oh.
A higher offer? Yes. But not a lower offer.
But not a lower.
Not a lower offer. And then 4, discussion of the disadvantages of an offer.
That's your job.
Yes.
It's your job. So what's the answer here?
3.
3. Absolutely. I know you said that early on, Crystal.
I'm sorry.
78 is number 3, guys. 79. Oh, I just gave you this rule. So let's say if you guys got it. Under capital gains tax, a single person, you're allowed to check your answer now.
Number 2.
Number 2, 50 for the sale of the home if that person has lived in the house for
2 of the 5 years.
Past 5 years.
Number 2. Lois gave Mark a deed with no express or implied warranty. The deed was most likely
4.
4 quick claim deed.
Hey, that's right. Quick claim deed.
Came with nothing.
Gave him nothing. All right. We have about 15 minutes, and I would like to just go over 1 or 2. These 2 may take 15 minutes, but I'm going to go over what I really want you to know. You will see this type of question is, I wrote down 34 and 35.
Okay.
We have got to do those. You have got to get that down. They test that seemingly on like every test. Those 2 together, 34 and 35. Right. So let's get those down here. All right. So what you need to do, guys, is have your, once I pull up a whiteboard, you can't see the screen. You can only see the whiteboard. So make sure that you can see the question that you have there.
Okay, where can I find this exam? Because I didn't have this exam. Is this on the website?
It was on your portal.
It's in the portal? Okay, because I had the wrong, I had exam number 3.
Okay. Yeah, it was in your portal.
Okay.
For you guys who are brand new, anyway, welcome. Anytime you see me say like I'm assigning homework or anything like that, it's gonna be in your portal. You go into your portal right under the home page, and it'll have the test there or whatever it is that I've assigned for that week, and it'll be labeled like live 12/19, which was this one. And then someone else also asked me, yes, if you are a member, this is being recorded and all lives are recorded and they'll be in your membership portal also.
I have a quick question. I am new to all this, and I took the class and passed it and all that back in 2017, and then didn't pass the exam, and then got a great job offer. So now I'm back here attempting this again. Is just because somebody referred this program to me, I mean, like leaps and bounds. She's like, you have to take this class, the KJ method. Are there like local, I'm in Kennesaw, are there study groups? Do people get together? Is there anything like that?
Sometimes students do get together, and you're welcome to, post in the group and ask other students. Students do study groups, they do study groups over Zoom. Right now, I think because of the holidays, it's been very, very quiet. But yes, the answer is yes.
So check the Facebook page because I'm open for study groups as well.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Can I just make a post on the Facebook page then that says who's name? Okay.
There are study groups and everything, but when you get the program, it's so much material in there. The study groups are always great, but it's so much material in there. And KJ, I don't know what goes off, but when you have a question, she like, bam, the answer is there, like you Googled it. So you're not gonna miss out, even if you get into the KJ method, you're not gonna miss out, even if you don't get a study group.
Yeah, the biggest thing for this, I agree. I think that the study groups, really the biggest reason is that, if a student has difficulty just sticking with the program. But besides that, everything is there that you need. But yeah, if student has problems sticking with the program, then that's where
I think for me, just having that in person, maybe it's a little bit of my age, but just having that in person
that's
conversation and review kind of thing.
Yeah, that's the reason why I do the boot camps. I feel the same way, and it's probably my age too, because everybody wants to be on the computer, but I really think there's nothing better than being in person. So I agree 100% with you. I mean, I'm getting ready to announce the next boot camps and stuff too. But I agree with you 100% on that. Because there's just nothing better than being in person. But it's so crazy now because, we've been battling back and forth because it's really hard to get people to come out of their houses now. Like everybody wants to be, behind a computer. So crazy. So, all right, guys. So, this is this amortization. You hear it sometime as called like the amortization, and then on the state exam they'll give you like this little chart or whatever. The number that you're looking at is right here, right? And this number is called the payment factor. And the way that these questions kind of read is, looking at your chart right there, this person has a mortgage, right? You guys, you have probably seen this chart. It's on the state exam. They'll put it like to the left and it'll say, 15 years, 20 years, 25 years, like that, right? And it'll say there's, 7.69, 8.24, 8.55, like that, right? And then down, and this is at 6% interest, and then down here at 7% interest, there'll be another number, 7.92, 8.46, like that. That's what the chart looks like. But either they're going to give you the chart and they're going to say, find the number when there is a 15-year mortgage at 6%. And you see how you just found the 769. That's the number you're going to use. Or they're just going to give you the number like this. They're going to just say that we're using a fact. So in this question, using a mortgage factor. of 7.69. That's what they're talking about. Do not be afraid of that number. When you see that, what we're calculating is the principal and the interest, right? The principal and interest payment on that house. That's what we're calculating. The principal and interest payment on that house. You know that a house loan composes principal, interest, taxes, insurance. We are not dealing with the taxes and insurance here. We are just dealing with the bank loan, principal and interest. What they want us to calculate is how much is this person paying in principal and interest, right? And it's really easy. So we look at number 34, using a factor of 769. What's the monthly payment on a $170,000 loan at 8%? I want to tell you, when you're calculating monthly payment, principal and interest, you only need two numbers. You need the loan
amount.
The loan amount. Why is that doing that? And you need the factor. So it's loan divided by 1,000. And whatever number you get here, you just multiply it by the factor. So that's your formula. So the first question we're going to answer is number 34. They want you to know, they want you to use a mortgage factor, tell us what the payment is on this loan for. Now look, they put 8% times 8% for 30 years. We don't need 8% and we don't need 30 years. We only need two numbers. What are the two numbers that we need right there for our formula?
Payment factor and loan amount.
Loan and the factor.
Factor, loan amount. That's all you need to figure out principal and interest. So look, 170 divided by 1,000. Does everybody understand that that's what all we're doing is following the formula?
Mm-hmm.
You get 170. Okay? And then what am I going to multiply that 170 by?
The factor
769.
769. And that equals 130730. That's how you do those problems. They're like so incredibly easy. But this is what gets y'all. They throw in there the 8.5 for the 30 years because you need that for the next question. And they always put these two questions like next to each other like that. And then they using that information, right? And then you like, now I got two questions wrong. I can't use that information question, right? So all you need is the loan and the factor. That factor is going to be given to you, or you got to look at the chart. Okay. So everybody good with that? 1306. All right.
Yes.
Now, then they say, using the information above, what's the total interest paid over the life of the loan? Now you're like, total interest? I don't know what this is what we want to know. The total interest. Okay? But let's think about this for a second. How long did they pay the loan for?
30 years.
They paid the loan for 30 years. Could you figure out how much they paid?
Yes. Yes.
You could, right? Because you could take this 1307.
Make it monthly. Yeah.
And make it monthly and multiply by 30. Or you could just say, how many months is 30 years? It's 360 months. Is everybody okay with that?
Yes.
Won't go too fast. What we're saying is they paid that every month for 30 years.
Right.
Okay. So then How many months is that? 360. Okay. And so if we got 360 months, how much did they pay for this whole loan? They paid 470,628 over the whole loan. Everybody with me so far?
Yes.
Yes.
But that is principal and interest. So their principal and interest was 470, 628. So the question now says, well, how much interest did they pay? How would you figure it out?
Subtract the principal.
You know how much you borrowed. How much did you borrow?
170, 170,000.
170. So all you have to do
is
subtract principal
back it out.
and interest, back out the principal. So how much interest did they pay?
300,000,
628. It's that simple. It's just like thinking through it. Like what is going on? What happened? Just like thinking through it. So does everybody understand? Step one is just getting the monthly amount. Does everyone now know how to get just the monthly amount?
Yes.
All you need is what two numbers do you need to get the monthly amount?
The
The
loan
loan
amount.
amount and the factor amount.
And the factor. The loan and the factor. You're going to take the loan amount, it doesn't matter what it is, and divide it by what number?
1,000.
1,000 to get some number, and then multiply it by
The factor.
Everybody good? That gives you the monthly payment that they're making. The monthly payment that they're making. And then it's going to go using that information. How much is the interest? Well, you're like, if I just calculate everything they paid monthly, know how much I borrowed.
Right.
The rest has to be interest because it's only made up of two numbers, principal and interest. That's how you do it. Okay?
Yeah.